to, doesn't it? If we change where the light is, that's a bit better, isn't it? You can actually see my face, it's not just blurry. I'm not used to streaming on YouTube with a camera, so you have to bear with us. I don't know how to make it look better. I haven't got a clue. But thought I'd go live, answer some questions and that. There's no real plan or anything like that for it. I'll grab some bits off the side so I can show you things, I guess. What if that's up here? A bit much. That's what it wants. It suggests this. You can't have that. That's insane. Just having what are you supposed to do with this fucking light, man? There, the eye. Fucking god. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that, man. I don't know why it's doing that. You can hear the fan ruthlessly at the minute. I've cleaned it and that, but there must be something I'm not doing right. How's that? Does that sound better?
That might be a lot louder though. I don't know how loud that is. It'll be a rattling. I'm moving the mic around. How does that sound? Hello? If I'll turn that down a little bit. How's that now? A little bit more, turn it down. How's that? Is that clear? Is it working? Can you hear me now? Sorry.
How's that? Maybe I should check this before I start doing live elsewhere. One sec, let me. This is the thing when it's hard to do. Sound as what like that? That's alright, yeah. We're on minus 40 decibels there. You might have to bear that in mind when I record the podcasts. Is it picking up? Is that mic now picking up the background noise of the fan still? I think I'm going to have to get some metal picks and properly clean the computer out. So I didn't used to make it so much of a noise. But anyway, hello. You're right, I know. Fucking thanks for that, man. Right. I think I'll move this light because it's fucking blind. That's a bit better. Well, if it's just underneath this. There's some light, but not loads, maybe. Oh, spam away, mate. There's a 15-second delay.
We'll try it there on 11 decibels. Tell me what sounds better. We'll use the delay. So that's 11, 19, 29, 2.4. I reckon about 11 though. And then we'll pick a number and then we'll leave it at that. I'm gonna go live on the other places as well. We'll see how it goes. But before I do, I'll grab some bits off of there. Grab some bits. Because then if people ask to see things, I can still show them stuff. "11 was perfect." I thought 11 would be alright. We're on 11 now. It will sound weird though, innit? Because I'm away from the mic. Ill prepared as always. Just getting some little bits. So hopefully, you know, people might buy a few bits. You never know. You gotta hope, haven't you? You've got to hope. I'll have the abominable snowman out as well. Get Clive on the go. Get him on job. Clive's on job. It does it. It's not a good camera, is it? It's a terrible camera. The other camera's better. I've got a second webcam because this one does fucking widescreen. But we'll leave it. I'll use the other one next time. We know now. It looked a bit different before it started streaming. Right, we're live everywhere, I think. Or we will be in a second. Yeah, we're now live everywhere. No, now we're live everywhere. So seeing as though the other streams have just started, you know, doesn't really matter. But if you are watching this on YouTube and you've somehow managed to get through 5 minutes of me fannying around with technology, then fair, like nice one. Like, I guess I know. Thank you for sticking with that. But there's so those of you that are joining now, because this is when I get the most people joining on Instagram, I've now got Cameo, so you can order a video from me on Cameo if that interests anybody. It's about $10 ish, which works out about £7. So if you fancy that, go on there. I've uploaded it to YouTube and to Instagram, the most recent one that I did, the first one. So that's available. That's a thing that's available now. I'll show you some bits as well through the evening. But I just thought, you know, I'll answer some questions and you know, and see where this goes. I don't often do live streams for no reason like this in the evening, so well, I'm not gonna be getting that out. Really GSV. Right, we've got a lot to go at here, so if I don't answer your thing, say it again, innit? Or put it in a question, tap the thing at the bottom and add it as a question, then we can at least have some form of way of keeping up with this. Let's see. Oh, WorldAroundEwe, I see you liking my stuff on Instagram a lot now. Right, so I'm going to answer YouTube, then I'll go Instagram, and then I'll go TikTok. We'll go in that order, because it's just from right to left, which for some reason makes sense, but it does make sense because that's the order the cameras are in, if that makes any sense at all. So, Anon's saying, yeah, I remember you used to watch the podcast, Anon, I think. I'm sure you used to watch me live record the radio shows before I just started doing it for Patreon. I think, you're right on, I think I've just said hello to you. It's going to take me a couple of minutes to get going into this. How I got into taxidermy, I misunderstood a university project and was trying to show off to the girl I liked as well, a bit of both, you know. There is a video on my YouTube which will answer that, because that's like a 5-10 minute story, which I can tell, but I think people have heard it before, and I'd rather you went over to YouTube and watched it. But if a few people ask, I'll tell you. Opinion on pencil sharpeners: I think they need more rats attached to than me. Some words of wisdom for a sad girl: tell me why you're sad, Blair. Why are you sad, Blair? What's the reason you're sad for? Because that's going to vary, it's going to change the advice in it, I suppose. Thank you, Anne's saying she loves all my work. I hope that means you know, my books, the things I've made out of rats, you know, the podcasts, my resin stuff. I hope that's all of it, Anne, Berberan. Right, well, let's see what else we've got on here now. I haven't got any amalgamations here because I'm not at the studio. But I've got this, which is one of my abominable snowmen. This, I haven't thought this through, have I? So I'm going to have to angle that camera that way a little, so I can get it in shot for everybody. And then, it's a hard thing to show on the YouTube mic, it's not really going to work, but it does work on the other ones. So these are made out of rats. It's the back half of a rat, but then I reattach the feet and cut it in clever ways to make it into a little person. I call them abominable snowmen. Its head's made out of a rat's ball sack, and I shove its teeth where its bumhole was. So that's the closest I've got to an amalgamation here at the minute. I've got some old resin stuff I can show you, and I've got one of my men from Turkey. Oh, and I've got the prototype insanity mirror as well, which I'm thinking about doing a giveaway as well, because this was a prototype. The prototypes, originally, right, all of the insanity mirrors were going to have a slice of agate crystal there, and then a wooden duck with real duckling feet attached to it, and its beak cut off, and a chicken's beak. But it was a bit of overkill, to be honest with you. There was a bit too much going on, and it was a nightmare to make it balance. So the top, and plus the top fell off after a few days, so I thought I can't really do that. Maybe the mirror's enough, you know, because I wanted to make it mental, innit, just make it seem crazy. So I thought that'd be a good idea to make it seem weird, but but that's how the insanity mirrors came about. But I might give away the duck fingers as a giveaway. Probably do it on TikTok because that's the easiest one to keep track of, I think. So I'm just going to scroll through these. The duck leg and googly eyes. Don't know what that's in reference to, man. Where do I get the animals? Mostly from pet shop freezers. They sell dead ones, innit? I probably didn't see your message, Andy. Or if I did, I got distracted. I get distracted, mate, very easily from things. So if I've read it and I haven't answered, I've probably just gone on to doing something else immediately. My head's like a bag of bees, mate. Or I've just not seen your message. Sometimes I don't answer the messages because I don't open them. Because sometimes, well, you see the ones I post there on Instagram, the messages that I take screenshots of and that. When I do open the messages, they're mental. Like they're just, a lot of them are pervy and weird. So I sometimes I just don't. I might not open many messages for days. Nice one, John. So, John, have you ordered a pencil case, or are you waiting on the next pencil case to be told to the Patreon subscribers? So, John J. Godby is commenting there. He's a Patreon subscriber. I'm not sure if he pays the £1 or the £3. I'm not sure. John might say in the comments. You don't have to if you don't want to. But because he's a Patreon subscriber, he gets told when the next rat pencil case will become available. I will get to your TikTok. I will answer your TikTok. Give us a second. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of this list there on Instagram. Someone's saying they're my biggest fan, but I can't read your name because it's got too many numbers in it. Lily off the net, I think. Oh, thank you, D-Joss. I don't really do custom work, Tom. No, I think I'm near the bottom of this list now. No. Well, I might, Andy. I don't know, man. I've got a guy that I tend to buy stuff like that off, so I don't know because I've been going to him for a while. But send us a message. I think now's not the time for me to be discussing if I should buy dead moles off you and that, man. Thank you, Ben. The rat pencil cases are 85 each. Oh, here we go. John said he's a £3 sub. He's waiting on the next notification. So it'll be a message, John. It'll be a message on Patreon. Otherwise, people could see that notification on Patreon, couldn't they? And they could trick you. You know, they could make it seem like they're not. Well, they could get there when you don't get there, if that makes sense. What shark are the teeth from? I think they're from a bull shark, but I'm not 100% sure. I also have otodus, otodus or otudos. So there's a few various types of shark, maybe tiger shark as well. But sharks just churn teeth out, so people just comb them out of the sand. Berberan's come over to Instagram now. Not content with watching me once on YouTube, now she's over on here as well. Right, so I will get to your TikTok. Give me a second. Anon's got 2 questions. First is, you obviously get a lot of hate based on some of the comments I've read on your vids. What's the worst reaction you've ever had? The worst reaction I've ever had was an old lady when I very first started out, one of the first times, maybe the first or the second time. The YouTube live went off. I don't know why. I don't know if it has. It shouldn't have done, Berberan. According to my side, I'm still on. Hopefully it's still on. If it's not, it's being recorded anyway, so I'll post it afterwards. Give me. Oh, this is mental. I got 3 screens of chat on the go of text. I don't know how to collate it all into one thing, and I will get to them questions at the bottom. I told you I'd do that because that'd be easier, but I will get to there. The worst reaction I've ever had is early on in the taxidermy when it first started and I got in the paper. I had an old lady send me a very, very violent message about how she would like to put meat hooks in the backs of my calves, hang me upside down, I think it was in a dining room, and slowly keep cutting me until I cark it. And that was her retaliation to me making taxidermy. So that's probably the worst reaction I've ever had. Second question is, I was looking at your website once before and might have missed it, but do you have any strange bottle openers? I would buy a rat with a bottle. I'd buy a rat with a bottle opener arse. No, but I mean, I'll make a note of it. Rat bottle openers. I might be able to get other bottle openers in, insect ones or something. But I've never made a rat one. Could try. I'm gonna make some rat toilet brushes soon. Right, I'll do TikTok because I've been ignoring them, not on purpose, but I will answer you. Let me have a little scroll. Oh, nice one, Claire. Well, your pet rat wouldn't. Well, I suppose I get what you mean when you're saying it's living on. Sorry, I'd only read half of that bit. Yeah, I don't do people's pets though, innit? I don't use people's pets. I think I might be draining too much of the Wi-Fi, too much of the internet here. Right, well, I'll add insect bottle opener as well. I'll have a look for some of them. I know a guy. Right, so you inspired me mum to get the mice the cat's bringing and make them into crazy taxidermy. Tell her to be careful doing that, Jeff, because that can make you ill, messing with wild mice and rats like that, cutting them up, you could get ill. Yeah, it is live, Daniel. I'm just I'm struggling to keep up with everything. I've got 3 streams on at once, so I'm really testing out my internet. You know, the fucking... What insect is big enough for a bottle opener? There's loads, but it won't be the actual insect that's a bottle opener. The insect would be a part of the bottle opener, I suppose. Right, alright, Andy, maybe. When you start going off chatting arse, is it off the top of your head or do you have points written down? Love the work and the show. It depends, mate. So, for the podcasts, the WorldAroundEwe podcast, I write a lot of that, so it might not be written as prose, as in like full sentences. I write notes and that, so I'll have an idea of where I'm going. Sometimes it might be written more in like prose, but it's not always written in like I couldn't publish it as something you could read every time, because it would just read as like a phone book gibberish, you know. Possibly some of them. The Here's Hows are written pretty much almost to completion, but when I'm doing videos on like to advertise my stuff, I don't really think any of that out before, and that is just whatever. As soon as I turn the camera on, it is just whatever I say. I just just talk, see what happens. Sometimes I'm just as surprised as you probably are when you listen to it as I say it. Like the Nancy Crab thing, I didn't know what I was looking at it thinking, how the fuck am I going to advertise this? And just started going, and then immediately it was like, call the crab a nonce. So I did. It was mint, because it's a fiddler crab, innit? He's a fiddler, so he's a nonce, But that's the best way of answering. I'm glad you're listening to the shows though, Tom, because not a lot of people seem to be. But I would like it if more people would go and listen to me podcasts, because a lot of time went into them from my old radio shows. I could still have a radio show, I just don't have the time at the minute, but I'll record more through the year and then start putting them out on the radio, and then there'll be podcasts again. But I've already got enough recorded to last until July 2025, so we're in good stead so far. But there is bonus shows on the Patreon if that interests you at all, and the Patreon shows are all just off the top of my head. The lighting situation, it's dark, innit? What if I put the big light on? It's just night time, innit? So it's fucking getting darker. The sun's setting. It's just making me I look completely different on every stream. Well, there's shirts from Fat Pete's Prints as well. If you're interested, you get discount codes on my podcast for it. I can try this light as well. What do we reckon if I put this light on here? Is the YouTube stream dead? Is this working? Let's see. Right, so let's the Here's Hows, man. I like the Here's Hows. They make me fun. They make me laugh. How would RG mate fucking message Jimmy Budd? I've took a screenshot, but message Jimmy Budd. Right, he's been busy because he does MMA now. Well, Muay Thai. He does Muay Thai. He doesn't do MMA. I think MMA is all of them together. I don't know much about sports in it. I know me darts, I know me snooker, and that's probably about it, like rule wise. But right, it's working. Okay. Oh, okay. So the YouTube stream did go down a little bit, but it's back. Sound. But the truth seeking, we still make notes for it, and obviously we chat quite a lot, so there is room to do more shows. It's just us both finding the time. We're both quite like busy now, because we started it over lockdown, innit, and we were doing it over lockdown as a way of sort of, in a crazy way, to sort of, well, it's helping keep me sane through lockdown. And now as the real life took over again, because that's years ago now. That's what lockdown was. What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? It's probably when we recorded most of those, I think. So, or a vast majority anyway. So I'll stop clicking that pen. That's probably annoying, isn't it? It's probably quite loud. So it's just finding the time to do them, man, for us both, where we can both do them. But it would be nice to do more, obviously, because they're fun and people seem to enjoy them. I've done stuff with snakes sometimes, not very often, but I do have a snake skin knocking about, so I'm going to do stuff with that. Yeah, I'm using OBS at the minute. I could probably stream from OBS to everything all at once, but it's not it's nice one, Floyd. It's not I just fucking struggle with it. Yeah, man, he's been doing well with it. He had his first fight on Sunday. I don't know if he won or not. I didn't want to ask. I don't know if that's a delicate subject to ask somebody who started fighting. So I didn't ask. You like the pen clicking, fair enough. Reincarnation. What do I think of reincarnation? It's fucking... We've done an episode of Truth Seeking on reincarnation called It's a Dog's Life. But it's fucking... I don't know, me. I don't know what I think about it. I don't like the idea that you could be a good person in life and then that means you come back as a tiger. Because what kind of reward is that? What kind of reward's coming back as a tiger? Because if you do come back as a tiger, you're going to get hunted by, you know, the people that hunt tigers, wherever that is. I don't know, is that China? You know, and maybe turned into some crazy, you know, like fertility statue or something. Or you're going to get, like, caged up and shoved in a zoo. What's the point of becoming back as a tiger or a chimp? Imagine how much of a nightmare it is to die and then wake up the next morning like getting fired out of a lady chimp. Like that's no life compared to being able knowing if you can remember as well, because you've moved on to a higher existence like a chimp, knowing that you could have been sat at home, you know, yesterday you were sat at home or lying in bed watching hospital TV. Or watching TV in hospital, you know, if your family's a bit flush and got you a TV card. It seems a bit grim, doesn't it? It seems like it's a losing battle, the idea of reincarnation. I think I like the idea that there's machines in the sky that keep us trapped here. I do like that. I go into that a lot in the podcasts. And if that could be in essence a type of reincarnation, then maybe I believe in it a little bit, but I don't know if I do. It's an hard one, isn't it? I don't think I'd want to come back as an animal. I'd want to come back as like a monster, or as not like an horrible person, but as an actual monster, you know, like Bigfoot or something, or an alien. I don't want to come back as a... Because I don't think you could... Because imagine if you come back as a mayfly, mate, you spend like, what, 3 years in the water trying not to get eaten by trout, and then all of a sudden you're a fly buzzing about the place, you shag a few other flies, and then you drop dead before the end of the day. It's a load of shite. Machines in the sky. There's supposed to be machines in the sky, isn't there, that like change our perception of the world, mate. Some people believe they change our perception. There's a religion that believes they trap the souls of the creatures that were originally put here on Earth and keep them here and keep them from escaping and going back to their actual plane of existence. There's all sorts, man. There's all sorts of stuff to do with the machines in the sky. Have you never listened to the podcast, TM Cardle? I go into it in them, mate. Anon's got some questions. Anon's on YouTube, on the YouTube stream. Not a taxidermy question, more personal. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm being cautious now. Curious if you're a smoker or a drinker or something extra. Not really, no. I did used to drink. I didn't really, where like with drinking was concerned, I wasn't really like let's go and have a couple beers with me mates. It was more of a, how long can I stay pissed for? Can I realistically, can I maintain being pissed for 3 weeks or longer? I mean, the answer's a resounding yes. Yes, you can. You get fuck all done, but it feels like you're getting loads done. Like rocking up to uni lessons pissed. It's just being off your face. It's kind of nice while you're doing it, but then so you get to a point and you're like, this is should probably stop here now. This is enough. Do you know what I mean? So that was me enough. It doesn't mean I've stopped. I still have the odd beer and that. I can I can control myself. I'm not a mentalist, but I did used to just enjoy. It was fun, innit? It's like a challenge to yourself, But it's not. It's just a stupid challenge. You should be challenging yourself to how many push-ups can you do in a day. Not how many glasses of whiskey can you drink through the day. And then thinking, oh, I've gone down a bit rough. That I'll have a cig. And I don't even smoke cigs now, so it's just, not a healthy guy, but probably a bit healthier than what I was. I'd like to think anyway, unless I've done irreparable damage with that and the taxidermy chemicals all coursing through my veins. I don't know. Can you make a bird throwing up curry? I could probably make a bird throw curry up. I don't know if I could make a bird throwing up curry though. How would you know it's curry? Cardle, I'm from Manchester. How many push-ups can I do in a day? I'm not sure now. But I don't know, I'm going to sit here and be like, I can do this many push-ups, mate. I see that as more of a personal thing, innit? Because it's just because it's not impressive for. Favourite book and favourite movie. My favourite film. It's hard. I don't really like watching films more than once, really, because once I've seen it, I start to remember it. Where's my accent? My accent's here, mate. Well, I don't know what that means. Anita. Oh, what's my accent? What's your accent? Mancunian. But my dad's Scouse, so I've got sort of a weird twang going on certain words, really. Plus, I've not lived in Manchester now for about 10 years. So it might have been rounded off by moving around the country a bit to different places. What was I talking about? I don't remember what I was saying. Favourite book and movie. Favourite book is Underground Education by Richard Zacks. That was a good book. I enjoyed that. I learnt quite a lot from that. I like factual books, to be honest. I quite enjoy them. I've enjoyed a few Richard Dawkins books as well. I tried David Icke's first book and it's made me want to read the rest of his. I've got Who Built the Moon as well sitting there, I need to read that, and I've got the Emerald Tablets of Thoth as well sitting on the side there, which I want to read. I'm not sure who Adam Buxton is, or Paul Foote, Daniel, but nice one. I'm glad you like that. I'm not even trying to be funny, man. So this is mint that you think this is funny. This is just me talking, isn't it? Just if you wanted me to try and be funny, mate, shove the podcast on. Man. Go and try one and then come back and tell people what you thought of one of the short haze hours. So that makes me sound cocky though, doesn't it? Like I think they're gonna come back. No, I nothing like that, Patrick. I'm not live under a desk today. That's on a Friday, and I don't have it out either. I just sit in boxes, but I'm not doing that today. That's a Friday thing. Do I recommend the Selfish Gene? I've not read The Selfish Gene or watched The Selfish Gene. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, thank you, Claire. I mean, as far as genes go, like genetics, I think having a selfish gene is a pretty good gene to have, innit? Because that's going to, like, self-preservation. It's going to keep you going. No, I'm live on different platforms, Jizwa. I'm live on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube. I'm not just sat here making up questions, talking to myself like a mentalist, mate. Right, Lola. But The Selfish Gene, I don't think that's one of the ones I've read. God, I can't remember the names of the ones I've read. I'm also reading at the minute Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods. Think it's kind of dull, if I'm honest. I thought it was going to be amazing, and it's kind of interesting, but it was a bit slow. It didn't get into the aliens enough for me, really. I want more alien stuff. I love learning about aliens. I suppose I should go learning, but it's proper learning, and it's not like science learning. It's learning. It's seminal work. I've not seen any of his blue movies, Cardle. I didn't know he did them. I didn't know he was into it. I always just known him as like a scientist, the sort of thing. Well, you wouldn't think he's got the body to do like seminal films and that seminal work. I don't know what seminal means. I'm presuming it means erotic material, but I don't know what that means. I've never heard that word before. Stoned ape theory. I haven't read a book on it, but I have watched numerous videos on it and read about it online. Stoned ape theory. It's quite a nice theory. With the mushrooms, that's like more so like Terence McKenna stuff, innit, than Richard Dawkins. I've never done any comedy shows, mate. I've never done any stand-up anywhere. It's science learning is you're just learning nonsense, you know, like gravity came from a guy sitting under a tree, whereas like learning is listening to people on YouTube talking about how they were abducted by aliens. In my eyes, anyway. Those of these that listen to the podcast will understand the science thing. Otherwise, that might not make any sense. Or Anita, I'll believe in practically any of them, mate. Anita, for those on TikTok and YouTube, Anita's asking, is there any conspiracy theories I believe in? The better question is probably, what conspiracies don't you believe in? I'll believe anything, mate. Any of them. If it makes sense to me, that's it, mate. That's like real then. No, it's not that I don't like science, Lola. It's more that I don't trust science. I don't like the idea that you have to... This is going to probably lose people now. This is why people don't listen to the podcast. With the science, it's the idea that you have to build on what the person before you believed, and you have to agree with what someone else has said, regardless of what you know or seem to be able to prove. That's where I think science falls down, if that makes sense. I think... So, say in science, you can't really take anecdotal evidence because it's not proper. But then if somebody who isn't from a scientific background, who hasn't got the right journals published or hasn't published within the right journals, puts a scientific thesis forward, that'll get poo-pooed for quite a long time. Or it'll get sort of stonewalled by financiers and, you know, things like that. Whereas other people may believe it and it may be proof and it may be real, but because certain people haven't gone, yeah, I agree with that because you've agreed with my master's work and my work, so I'll agree with you, but I don't. But if it disproves that, they don't like it. Whereas science, we was always taught at school, science is the art of disproving people. It's the whole point of it is that you can disprove it. Anon's asking, what was your first taxidermy experience and what drove you to do it, and also how did it go? I imagine you're just butchering a rat beyond belief. Never seen the pod if you've already explained it. It's on the pinned video. I go into that and on YouTube, on the pinned video for me subscribers on YouTube. So once you've subscribed, you'll get shown a different video when you go back to my homepage on YouTube, my page on YouTube, and it will tell you how I got into it. I misunderstood a university project where everyone else made like chairs and shelves, and I made a rat into a pencil case and then ended up in the newspapers all around the world for it, which isn't even an exaggeration. So that's very briefly. But I did a mouse with me. The very first taxidermy I did was a mouse I did in my mum's back garden with my girlfriend. We ended up doing it by candlelight by the end of the night because it just took so long to do. And I think I had to throw that away this year, or last year, because we had a little bit of a leak and it got damp and got ruined. I just have varying beliefs, man, on science. My beliefs change every day, though, innit? It's not you're right, Justine. It's just it's just one of them. I don't know. I find it hard to answer it. Not really, Berberan. I don't like the idea of doing videos of teaching people how to do taxidermy because it's my bread and butter, innit? Like, you don't really have that many plumbers teaching people how to plumb their houses. Do you know what I mean? Well, there you go, Daniel. See, I suppose that's what I could go and tell on stage, innit? If I was to go and do a stand-up thing, Just go and tell people how I accidentally became a taxidermist. Let me go back and see what you were saying there. Tom Shelbourne, I'm not going to answer that on a live stream, mate, because I'll get banned off everything. Still, I can't really speak about it. It just flags, and I don't want to risk it. I'm not saying something anecdotal could be more concrete. I just don't think you can really disprove it. I think it's very strange that a lot of people trust and believe in science, because I don't see a difference dogmatically between the trust and belief that many people have in science who don't understand science. Like, I'm not saying I understand science, but I know there's a lot of people who are pretty thick. I think was it George Carlin who said, you've got to remember that the average human isn't very bright at all. And then you've got to bear in mind that means half of the people are even thicker than that. So there's a lot of people that just trust scientists and just trust science and believe in science. And I don't see that as any different as to the ways that people just believed and trusted in religion years ago. I don't understand where the difference can be, because back then they had the quote-unquote proof in religion and the evidence in religion that people went, oh yeah, spot on, yeah, we throw the witches in the water and we wrap a couple cinder blocks around them and we drown them with the mafia grasses, and if they come out the water they're a witch, but if they drown they weren't a witch. Buzzing, yeah, I understand. Just seems like a very sort of a weird, sort of almost slippery slope. It's a wet slope, it might not be a slippery slope, it's a damp slope, I think, heading towards a slippery slope. We've not got the fairy liquid out quite yet, innit, but you know, Tigbity Dave's on his way to the corner shop to go and get some for it, but he hasn't come back yet because he's been distracted by that girl he likes that works in the kebab shop. But he will be here with his fairy liquid to make you fucking hurtle down the hill, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm alright, Hosea. Yeah, but I'll ask my questions there, Lily. Is that a particularly good thing to do? Andy Moore. Just send me a message, Andy, it'll be easier. I don't know if I want the wings, man. I don't know what the wings of. My family approve of the taxidermy. Yeah, sometimes they take screenshots and print them out of when I've been in the news and they put them up in the house in frames, my mum and dad. Right, let's see what these questions are here. What is an easy beginner thing for taxidermy? Probably a mouse, I'd say. Opinion on pencil sharpeners. We answered this one before. Let's get rid of these as we've answered them. Opinion on pencil sharpeners, if those of you that missed it, was that they need more rat attached to them. I like saying rat attached. That's a nice little phrase. That sounds well nice. Rat attached. Lily of the Net, you've asked a lot here. I'm not going to knock it. Why do you think people are so pervy to you? Seems like a strange environment for creeps. Lily of the Net, it's all started, as far as I know, on my Facebook page. So I post videos, as you know, where I'll be there and I'll be like, you know, going, this is me a bum in a ball snowman. It's made out of half of a rat. You can see it's got 4 legs. Its head's a ball sack, you know, getting into that and talking about whatever my item is that I'm selling. And then it turned out that someone started sharing my videos and it started reaching a whole different group of people. People that were more interested in my trousers, which had never occurred to me. And then they all just seemed to agree to just keep hush over it and for me to not know. And then I think the floodgates just opened one day. Someone made a weird comment and then someone agreed, and then it was like hundreds of comments around it, or dozens, let's say dozens, maybe over 100 comments along the same lines as that one, going, oh, I thought it was just me, I never wanted to say, I didn't want to be the first, saying stuff like along those lines. And I was like, what's going on here? I thought it was a wind up. I just thought it was a new sort of like vegan tactic or animal rights tactic, you know, to try and have a go at me and wind me up or whatever, like they used to. Those of you that used to be on my Facebook and saw all of that when that was happening. Never really happened too much on Instagram, but it did used to happen a lot on Facebook. And then that sort of snowballed into getting messages, constantly getting messages, asking me where my account was, because I've got a TikTok on, you can't really say it, but as in I can't cover it up from this, so like O and then an F, you know, if that makes sense. It's as a initials. So I was like, I don't know what you're on about. I don't have one. Why would I have one? I'd sell taxidermy. I'm showing you stuff I've made from rats, mate. I don't understand. Thought it was a piss take. Ignored it for ages. Then eventually just set one up, and now I just post videos to it. The same sort of videos of me showing the stuff that I post on here. I just now record, I don't know, 20 odd a month or so, and post them on there as an extra feed of those videos. Also do a live stream from under the desk for it most Fridays, and send out a bit of, you know, pay-per-view where I might be in me gruds or something. But there's no nudity out like that in it, you know, nothing like that. But I think that's partly responsible for it. But I didn't start it. I didn't intend to start it, innit? You just sort of make hay when the sun shines, kind of thing. I think I've already answered your reincarnation. Where do I find meaning, man? I like making people laugh. That's always been my favourite thing to do, really. Like, my favourite sort of activity or interaction with people is making other people laugh. I always wanted to be the one making people laugh when I go to the pub with my mates. I liked it, doing it at school, at college, at university. All that was important to me was that I just made people laugh, me. And now I do it in a way, I do it as a job, in a way. In a roundabout way. I make people laugh, almost for money, sometimes, you know. What type of content do I consume? Conspiracy theory stuff, mostly, and I mean, my TikTok is mostly just people screaming at each other, and I find that fascinating to watch, and I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I like conspiracy theory stuff. I like alien stuff about aliens and that. I've answered how I source my animals for taxidermy. How I got into taxidermy, Pinot Noir, that's hard to say because it almost says it anyway. Pinot Noir. There's a video on my YouTube you can watch which will explain that in a big story, otherwise I just end up keep saying it all through the stream and then people will leave because they'll be like, I've heard him saying this. The amalgamation. What amalgamation? Which one, Billy? I've made quite a few. Do you mean this? This one's mine. This is one of the few pieces of mine I've actually kept. That's me, a bum and a ball snowman. But there is an amalgamations on the website. There's a couple, I think, at the minute. There might be 2 on the website. There's also 2 at my stall in Dorset. My favourite thing to taxidermy, Holly, is rats, because you can make loads out of rats, mate. There's loads to be made out of a rat, and I find that fascinating, mate. Seeing how many different things I can make out of rats. Right, let's delete the questions we've got here, so in case there's more coming through. I don't know if any of you fancy ordering a cameo off me, if you want a video off me of saying, you know, like happy birthday to your mum or something, or you want some specific, you know, questions or something answering on there. That'd be nice if you want to go on there and order one of them. Listen to me podcasts, join me Patreon, mate. £3 a month, £1 a month, you get to listen to me ramble to myself for ages. I'm not going anywhere, I just haven't told you for a while to buy something for me. Well, buy something from me, but I've not really used this to advertise, which is probably a good thing. It's probably why so many people have stayed, because I have brought all this stuff here to show you, you know, but we'll leave that for now. Smoking related animal items. I've got an ashtray at the minute with a dead butterfly inside. The stick man with the grape stomper. I called him behind every grape man, Paul. The strangest taxidermy. I presume you mean the strangest taxidermy I've made, rather than the strangest taxidermy I've used, as in the strangest animal I've used. None of them are that strange. Maybe a mole, because not many people have ever seen a mole, I guess. No, I've never made pipes that out like that, because it's dangerous. It'd be dangerous, man, to put fur around a naked flame. Right, we've got another question here off of Anon on YouTube. Were you born into a religious family? I grew up Catholic, but with a family that didn't believe in God at all. Did the old communication and confirmation, etc. regardless, because the whole school was. So, kind of. I was brought up Catholic, because my dad's into it, but my mum weren't into it. All my dad's side of the family's into it. My uncle on my dad's side was even a priest. So that's how much they were into being like Catholic and Catholicism. They bum off it, they love it. But I didn't get it. It never made sense to me. It just felt like a bit of gibberish, to be honest. It just didn't make sense. And then that priest uncle. You'd think with a priest uncle as well, you'd think you'd get touched, wouldn't you, once or twice? But he never did. And I always questioned what was wrong with me. Do you know what I mean? Because you ticking off both boxes there, innit, and not even a weird little tickle, nothing. But he died of like a very aggressive cancer, and that sort of put me off religion because it didn't make sense to me. That seemed like a general going in and just slaughtering his own troops. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make any sense, and it really just shut me off to it. Then at that point, I couldn't care about it, and I don't really care about it now. I did the communion and I didn't do confirmation. My school wouldn't let me do the what's it called? Confirmation is another word for it. But the school wouldn't let me do it because I wanted the names Judas or Mary, and they wouldn't let me have either. And then they told me I was taking the piss. There was, there's been a bit though, Tom, I suppose, but not really now. I think I just, maybe a bit much. I don't know. Alright, Cardle, nice one. Oh, you off as well, Anita? Fair enough, nice one. Well, it's weird these are all leaving at once, but maybe more people will join. Yeah, I answered it then and on. You might have missed it, I don't know. Maybe I rambled too much, maybe my answer didn't make any sense. My family weren't religious, my dad was. My mum wasn't. My mum's was like Protestant. You got to say that right, aren't you, when you're talking about your own mother? She was a Protestant. My dad was a Catholic. And in other parts of the world, people do with fought over that, which is mad. Yeah, I used to go to church every Sunday up until about the age of 11, I think, and then we just stopped. But it never made sense to me, and then I gave up with it. But I see a lot of similarities in religion to science and other things, and just the world and the way it works, if that makes sense. Alright, Howard, I'm glad you're staying. Would I prefer becoming a stone or a priest? Don't know. You can use both to kill a fish, which is an interesting part with that question, isn't it, Matt? Because you can kill a fish with a priest. Not like whispering in his ear, being like, kill that pike. See that salmon there? It's giving you the eye, mate. It's going to make you break your celibacy vows. That pike there, that trout. Look at that salmon, mate. But a priest is like a stick you'd use to kill a fish, innit? So I wouldn't want to be that. I suppose I'd probably rather be a priest because then I'd be alive. If you're a stone, you're not going to be alive, innit? Yeah, Beatrice, I'm Englishman. Alright, Daniel, nice one, mate. Good night, mate, I suppose. Yeah, the t-shirt's from the sponsor, Fat Pete's Prints. If you want one, Fat Pete's Prints is on Etsy. It's you can find the link to it on my podcasts. If you listen to my podcasts, there's a link in most of the more recent ones, and you get a discount code as well. So, but I want you to listen to the podcast, so I get them listens as well, because I get a fraction of a penny for some of the listens when it plays an advert to you. So if it does play an advert to you that isn't in my voice, unless it's me taking the piss, being like, this week at Shifty Steve, you can skip them if you find them ones annoying. Shifty Steve is a guy that works in a chippy but also sells knockoff tellies out the back. Weird character I developed for the podcast to make fake adverts before people would actually sponsor me. And then, but if you hear an advert that sounds like properly made, listen to it, because that's how I get paid for the podcast, unless you join the Patreon. If you join the Patreon, feel free to skip through those adverts. Just do it as soon as you hear it, But otherwise, give us listen to the adverts on the shows, because that's how I get a couple of quid. Well, I don't get a couple, I get fractions of a penny per listen, and not enough people listen for me to really make a couple of quid on the podcasts. But I'm hoping in time it will, Everyone's left now on TikTok. American versus British taxidermy, what do you think's better? I think Americans have got more interesting animals to skin and make stuff out of. Like a raccoon, that's an interesting animal to be able to chop up. They've got bison as well, mate. Bison are pretty good because you could go around collecting the horns, and pronghorns as well. like nice little antlers. I've got some antlers for sale as well at West Bay Customs House Emporium in Dorset. I'm gonna have a drink because my throat's getting dry. I've been speaking a lot here. But I'm not really arsed by either taxidermy. Like I said, man, I never wanted to be a taxidermist, didn't I? I just fell into it. I don't really think any of them is better than the other. There'll be good ones. There'll be good British taxidermists, English taxidermists. There'll be good Scottish ones. There'll be good American ones. It's just what's there, innit? I'm not that arsed, really. I think people should just make the stuff, and if people like it, they'll like it. I wouldn't think, oh, it's English, I've got to like it. No, I'm not like that tribal with it, innit? What's this new question, innit? Any thoughts on ancient civilizations? Hancock School of Thought. I thought his series on Netflix was painful to watch, and I was gutted. I was quite disappointed that his series on Netflix was. I was hoping that his series on Netflix would be as if you've already listened to a lot of his interviews and talks and stuff, and it would just be showing you mad shit. But it was very like entry level, which I understand, that makes sense. But I was disappointed by that personally. I wanted to see more. I didn't want it to be as hand-holdy, if that makes sense. No, I'm not going to stand up, Kevin. I'm just sitting here having a chat with people. But ancient civilization-wise, I do lean quite heavily to the Anunnaki. I do like that. I'd like to read the Zachariah Sitchin books. I've got on my Amazon wish list. I've got loads of books on there, things to do with Greys and the Fae and stuff like that, and how they're supposedly intrinsically linked to one another. I find all that sort of stuff interesting, sort of where myth blends with science. Oh, that's a massive delay, mate, if that's only just happened. Wow. That's like a 10-minute delay, mate. That's insane. This will still be live when I end. So, I've gotten you saying it's the delay, mate. According to this, I'm 52 minutes into the show. Well, into the stream. Just so you've got an idea, you can work out the delay. So right now, 52 minutes, 33 seconds. So, tell me when you get this. Nice one, double Duke. I've never really watched Ancient Aliens for the same reasons. I find it like it feels like it's taking the piss. Really, I like the YouTube stuff. Oh, that's weird, enough. So you're back then now. I don't know why that happened. I don't know how you've done that. Oh, what's going on here? Right, and Andy's back, trying to... Oh, he's not trying to sell me squirrels, was he? What you said about science is not accurate because the purpose of research is to progress and further research that made previously taken into consideration many other researchers' findings. That's what I mean, though. That's the whole thing that I have a problem with and that I can't seem to get my head around or explain to people. I've made 2 series of shows, basically, about it. It's that idea of that you've got to build it on what was already there. So if someone did come along who was just... So look at all of the people that have made mad shit in sheds. And they've gone, just made this in my shed. Right? Perpetual motion machine. They go, oh yeah, it's not real. You're like, no, well it is, look. Off it goes. You just finish this screw here. Don't have to put any energy into it, off it goes. Or, the cars that are powered by water. That's a good example. The guy that made the water-powered car used different technology, sort of not really known, died, got killed, poisoned supposedly by his own brother in a restaurant, publicly. Running out of the restaurant screaming, they got me, oh my god, they've got me, like that. It's very suspicious that you've got to build it on the previous people's science. You have to use what other scientists already use. There's no real, doesn't feel or seem like there's any real groundbreaking stuff happen, in the sense of like you just read stuff online, man, and you're like, oh, so they figured that out years ago. well, why aren't we using it? Oh, we're not using it because that guy that figured that out was just a mentalist. I keep doing this because it's a video, I suppose. He was just a mentalist in their eyes, in they, the big they, the capital T, they's eyes. And they're like, well, we can't have him telling people that they can go and do this, so bop him off. And that's where me disbelief in science comes from, really, because it seems to happen over and over and over again. It's not just science; it's a lot of reality, to be honest. But a lot of it was science, because it's like the idea that they're obsessed, right, with the idea that gravity is definitely a force pulling down. But why can't it be a force pushing something down? Why can't it be something pushing it down to the earth? Do you know what I mean? It's just things like that. Like, why has it got to be definitely that when it could be the exact opposite? But because so and so, Isaac Newton, let's not say so and so, has said it's definitely this, and then so much stuff has been built upon them foundations, so much stuff. Realistically, for one thing down here to be wrong means intrinsically there's going to be faults all the way up the ladder, and that would then make people go, well, what is real, what isn't real, what's right, what's wrong. I'd say most of them are from England, Beatrice. Probably Bigfoot, Lucinda, because it seems like the only one that doesn't want to kill people. I've never made a fake cryptid. I wouldn't mind making one. I make amalgamations, which are like fake animals. I also make, every now and then in resin, I call them fossils. It's different bits of animals put together, like bones and meat and stuff. They're pretty good. I've not made them for a while though. Well, probably a couple of years now. Quite possibly double Duke. I'm not sure, Andy. It's not something I know about, man. This is the thing. It might just be that I'm an idiot, Andy. I don't know. But, well, I don't think I'm an idiot, but I suppose I wouldn't know anyway, would I? My brain puts different, and always has done, puts things together that might not actually fit properly. If you imagine puzzle pieces, it's always done it, it's always made problems for me. I did it through school and stuff like that. I didn't do very well at exams and that, but I'd know the stuff, but my brain will make connections between all different things, and I don't really have a say over it, if that makes sense. Which I think makes the shows interesting. I wouldn't try and learn from me, by any means. You know, I just take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, Jack, thank you, it's from Fat Pete's Prince. I'm glad you like the pencil case, Apple user. Jennifer, I think your name would be, if you bought the pencil case for a man. I think your name was Jennifer, I think. Did you let him listen to any of the stuff or watch any of the stuff on the Patreon? Nah, I'm alright, Duke. I don't want your dead chicken. I'm selling some fully stuffed chickens though at Customs House Emporium in Dorset. That interests you? Yeah, basically, Andy, I suppose, yeah. I don't think it does. And I don't think, because this sounds like stoner talk, but I don't think that there is any way that anybody can prove to me people look like people. Because I believe, again, belief is a thing. And maybe it's because of all the brainwashing from going to Catholic school, to Catholic primary, Catholic secondary, Catholic college. I think that brainwashes you to look for a belief system, but it didn't really quite work on me. But I don't think you can prove, like, so to me, a dog looks like a dog, and I say to you, a dog looks like a dog, and you hear a dog looks like a dog. But realistically, how do we know that when I describe a dog, there isn't some form of ethereal filter that then describes a dog to you how you would see a dog, which I might see what you see as a dog as a pig. But when I describe a pig to you, you hear how you would see a pig. So I say you know, I suppose by doing this, explaining this, it would solve the problem. But say I describe my dog, yeah, right, it's brown, it's small, and that's fine, you still hear it's brown, it's small. But then when I start saying it's covered in thick hair, you don't hear that, you go, and it's got scarce hair, sharp hair, you know, it changes, it's some form of ethereal perception filter, maybe physical machinery perception filters in the sky or something. I don't think there's a way to definitely explain things to people. Because of the thought of, like, say even a rainbow, man. Unless you're looking at a photograph of a rainbow, nobody sees the same rainbow at all, because of the way the light refracts through the rainfall. No one will see the same. Yeah, the colours, we could all see different colours, but we all get assigned, that's black, that's blue, that's red. And we know that's red because that's red to me, and that's what I've been told is red, but that shade may be different. That's like a very small version of it, but what if that's everything? So I'm looking at a computer screen, which we all know the term computer screen, but for some of yous, that might be the equivalent of what I would see as a jellyfish, but just lit up. And it's propped up on its tentacles, and you can see on the jellyfish itself is the screen. You know, there's no way to prove that that's not happening. And that's my problem with science, if that makes sense. No real topic, mate. I'm just chatting to people, answering questions. Yeah, exactly. Right, I get that. And on saying science is something you can repeat with the same result every single time. Take the apple falling from the tree, it always falls, but never floats up. All that other stuff is just a guess at best. But to say that, yeah, it definitely falls every time, you're already deciding there that it falls. It might be pushed. It might be getting pushed down. It's them little simple bits. The way the words are used, it's pulled. Like, even like if you look at like the way using words influences how a person thinks, doesn't it? Influences how a person then sees the world. It influences how a person responds to things. I think in a way the idea of something being pulled is a good way to get into someone's head. This person's got a hold. These have got a hold on everything. They've got a grip on reality. They're sort of holding it here. Do you know what I mean? Rather than pushed, it's being pushed down. Doesn't that sound like, well, you can push back against that, but if you're being pulled, you can't. You've got to pull against it. Surely it just seems like the way they use words, man, as well, is just a way to like get in your head and that, just to make you. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, man. See, this is why I don't smoke and drink that much now, because it's imagine me when I'm not sober, just wreck my own head. That's more of like I'm Wubbs Emporium saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over with the same results. That's doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results, but something different happens and you've not changed it. And that's more of a thing that I think it's assigned to Einstein. I don't know if he actually said it, but that's more of a what's the word? Not a proverb as such, but what's the word? I can't think of what the word is, but it's something that he supposedly said, but I don't think it's more of like a quip, you know. I don't know quantum theory. Really, Tom, I just stopped. Really, and every now and then go back to it for a bit. After a bit, you realise, oh, this is why I stopped doing this. I'll stop again. And there's times where you stop get longer, and the times where you go back to it get shorter, up until you're at a point where you can just put it down and leave it and pick it up when you want it and put it down when you don't want it no more. That would be my only tip. But I suppose you could say I have a lot of willpower, I mean, I sort of forced myself for the past 7 years to sit alone in a room chopping up rats. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it, but I forced myself to make this into a job as well, so I do have a sort of a sticking power for things, I suppose. No rat pencil cases available at the minute, mate. If you want to know when the next one is, then Dickie, what you want to do is you want to join my Patreon, and I send out a message to my Patreon subscribers to tell them when the next ones are available. Like they get like a 2 hour or 1 hour warning. Double Duke saying a lot of stuff that's seen as 100% real is just whatever our best guess is, so it's just as open to the idea of it being something else, I suppose. Oh, exactly, Andy. That's perception. So how, if we're allowed to believe that perception only affects what we're seeing with our eyes, does that not seem crazy to you? That it could also be affecting what we hear? So this sounds stupid, and it is kind of a bit, but it's also kind of serious. Do you not think it's weird that when you look upside down, everything looks upside down, and that your brain doesn't just keep it looking how it should look? It feels like it's upside down when you look at it. Like if I go like that, things look upside down. Whereas we're already seeing everything upside down according to scientists and opticians. You know, if you want to believe opticians are probably up there with dentists. As should we trust them? I've got an episode coming out about dentists as well in the future. Dentists, should we trust them, is the episode's title, I think, or at least a working title, until I come up with a better name. But we already see everything upside down, innit? So you'd think that then when we look at stuff upside down, our brain would be able to somehow rectify that, but it doesn't, which is weird. So, but anyway, do you not think it's odd that if we're listening to something and we turn our heads this way, that we don't hear the music or whatever it is sideways, or we don't hear it upside down? So like imagine like the scale going ba da 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 da. Instead of hearing that, we'd hear it the other way. So it'd be like like that. We just hear it upside down somehow. That blows my mind, mate. And I know that sounds stupid, but it just seems so strange that something that is already external can be upside down from our eyes. So does that mean we've been able to hear for longer than we can see? Is that what that means? Have we as creatures, if evolution's to be believed, have we always been able to hear compared to seeing? Is seeing a relatively new thing? Did we used to live somewhere dark and we've been able to hear so well that we can listen to things upside down and still know where that sound is, rather than it being completely disorientating and not quite knowing where it is, like if we look at stuff upside down? Nah, I'm not Welsh, Zero, I'm from England. Not at a minute, George. You can get ones printed though. I'm live on Instagram as well. I'm also live on YouTube. No, we're not going to do a ritual. No, we'll have none of that, mate. No rituals or all like that. Let's one sec. Well, I'm glad you liked it, Biscuit. Those of you wondering, Biscuit bought a bobblehead duckling and his mate liked it. So if you're into a bobblehead duckling, I've got some on my website. There's loads of stuff on my website at the minute. If that interests anybody who's watching this, I don't know if it does. I'm kind of hoping that by going live, more people will sign up to my Patreon and buy stuff off my website and watch my videos and stuff and do all of the little things that contribute to this actually being a job. That'd be nice. I don't take pre-orders on because it's a nightmare. I used to take pre-orders, and you tell people I'm not going to be able to start making this item for a month and a half to 2 months, but if you'd like to pre-order it, you can do. And then people go, yeah, okay, I'll pre-order it. Then a week and a half later, they get in touch with you and they say, have you started that yet? Just like to know, have you had a chance to start it yet? Like, no mate, I told you I'd be starting it in about a month and a half's time. I haven't started it yet. They're like, well, I want it for the end of the month. And you're like, well, you agreed. And then you get hounded with that. I get quite a lot of messages now, mostly off pervy people and strange messages that sometimes don't make any sense. I get a lot of voice notes that don't make any sense. People seem to just like to send me just noises, like, but like they're purposely making noises, not like a dirty noise or out like that, just gibberish noises. And I don't think it's a foreign language or out like that. It's just like gibberish. But I get a lot of that. I wouldn't mind that one stopping, because it's a huge waste of my time listening to those. It doesn't do out for me. It doesn't interest me at all. I don't want to listen to someone go like that, because I don't know what this is. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like they've got a bad microphone. And I'm convinced that there's someone who keeps doing it, who keeps making new profiles just to do it. So I think someone's trying to fuck with me with it. Anyway, the pre-orders. I used to get a lot of messages then from that saying, you know, oh, I thought you'd be able to start it soon. I was hoping you're just saying that and you'd have it started now. You know, this isn't really very good for you. Good for me. They're like, yeah, but you agreed to this. And that was like 90% of the people that would pre-order something wouldn't pay any attention, even though it was in a message, probably the message before they've sent that message, saying you can order one. Okay, I'll set the link up for you now, here you go. But it's not going to be ready, it's not going to be started until this time, and then it's probably going to take me like 2-3 weeks to get it finished, but that's when I'll start skinning the rat. People don't want to wait, so I just do it this way, because now I don't get harassed by people. But my Patreon subscribers do get a message when the new rat pencil cases are out. So, and if it comes to it, I might do it with when I... What the fuck? I'm sure I just fucking hallucinating. It's weird. I look like a moth. That's weird. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So if, like, say I make like an amalgamation and I post it or something at a forum and it gets a lot of interest, I might then do that as a Patreon message as well. Might, but for now it's definitely just the pencil cases. Just to give people a chance, you know, people that, because some people have been waiting a long time for them, because they go quite quick when I do them. So which is nice, you know, it's great, but I can only make so many a week and so many a month. Also because I get fucking bored of making them as well. So I haven't made any for quite a while, until maybe 4 weeks ago when I started making them again. So I'll be doing resin stuff soon anyway, so I'll get a break from doing them. I didn't know that about Kestrels, Andy. I didn't know Kestrels can see ultraviolet light because of vermin piss. I didn't know that. But yeah, the light spectrum's mad. That's a big David Icke point though, isn't it? That we can only see a little bit of it, so how do we know things aren't within it? I think that's partly where I've built my sort of layered dimensions theory from in my head about that. I think that it all exists all around us all at once. Where are we? Yeah, I get that, Andy. Oh, fucking hell, these comments are really far behind. What do I think happens after death? I just think it just stops. There's part of me that kind of hopes it just does as well. I hate the idea of going to hell, to be honest, or going to heaven. Heaven sounds like quite nightmarish as well in its own sort of weird way, doesn't it? Being surrounded by like your nan and that. My nan was horrible, so she probably won't be in heaven, but then she wouldn't be in my heaven. I like the idea that if heaven does exist, it's like that hotel with infinite rooms, and each one's specifically made for each person. So I could go into my heaven, and it's got some of my childhood friends in there, and you know, a few family members, my missus. Even if my missus is still alive, do you know what I mean? But she's in there, a version of her. Then it is her, just maybe from a different reality or whatever, or you know, just an imagination of her. And then in theirs, I might not even be in theirs, but I like the idea that they're in mine. That would probably be the best thing that could happen, I suppose. I don't know how to help you, Alicia. How do you want help with being sad? Right, we jumped over. How strange. What's strange, Emporium? What's my opinion on pigeons in Stockport? I feel they're conspiring. They could be, mate. I keep seeing how people are saying pigeons are getting braver, which is a good thing. There used to be a guy in Plymouth that used to speak to the pigeons, and he could tell when they were going to fight each other and that, when they were going to shag each other. And I used to go and I'd be hammered, you know, and then go into town when I was at uni. And then I'd go and sit with this guy, or sit near watching this guy it'd be like 11 o'clock in the morning, half 11 in the morning. Neither of us have business being drunk outside the shops in the middle of the day, but we would be. I didn't know him, But I knew he'd be pissed, and I knew he'd be there speaking to the pigeons. And I'd go and have music in one ear and listening to him with the other. And he'd be sort of like commentating on them, speaking to them and that, and telling them to leave each other alone and stuff. He was a madman. But it was brilliant because he'd be there with a carrier bag every day. Well, every time I saw him, he'd be there with a carrier bag full of cans of, you know, the bright orange cans of Tetleys, which is like a bitter, I think. He'd be drinking them, or super tenants it might be super tenants. The orange can anyway, what looked like an outline of a person. I think it was an outline of a person. He'd drink them and just my the pigeons. So I'd just go and watch him. It's alright, Rollo clocks. They could be modifying stem cells, the pigeons. I doubt it, like, but it could be. They're probably just winging it though. I don't think they'd be any good at like sort of genetic engineering. See, that's weird, isn't it? I don't really believe in science, but I do believe in genetic engineering, and I kind of believe in genetic hybridization of animals and alien DNA in humans, and I think it's happening in the moon. So it's very weird when I start talking about things I believe and don't believe, I suppose. It'd be meant if he was putting things in the pigeons, telling them what to do. I think I'm getting towards the bottom of the comments now. At least 17. Is that what you need? You need 17 quid to pay child support. How come you believe in infinity if you don't believe in science, but science created the concept of infinity, hotel with infinite rooms? Now that's semantics though, isn't it? That's just using language, which I suppose is what I'm doing to a degree. But it's not hard though to imagine. Well, it wouldn't have to be an infinite amount of rooms, and it doesn't need to be infinite rooms. There just needs to be 7.8 billion rooms, and that's fine. It doesn't need that. It doesn't need to be infinite. It was just an easier way to say, because I don't know the exact population number, and it would be changing every day, wouldn't it? Well, it'd be more than 7.8 billion. There'd be 7.8 billion unused rooms at the minute, and then there'll be more. But it probably won't be infinite, because there's not going to be an infinite amount of people. People will die out one day, so I suppose. One sec, I'm going to look at... You're right, Lee. I'm going to look at YouTube, because I've not looked at that for a while. What you're saying now about difference in view, this comment could be completely different to you from what I typed. This defo some stoner or tripping talk. Yeah, exactly, mate. I might not be... And even when I read this out loud, you might hear me read it out loud exactly how you wrote it. So, this is what I mean, man. There's no way of proving anything. And on saying it because we're spinning on a big ball and gravity sucks towards things. So it's like the amusement ride. I suppose with G-force and that, but I mean, is that what G-force stands for? Gravity force? Never thought about that. Maybe it does. There was this crazy case where a conjoined twin had the head upside down, her brain adjusted after a few years, and she sees normally. So it takes a few years to adjust. See, how can we get that down? How can we shave some time off of that? Maybe if we get the other conjoined twins and force their head upside down as well. Make them have a crooked neck with the sister, brother, themselves. I don't know, they're different people, innit? They're separate people, but just connected. Two separate people, brother or sister, whatever. But force them both to look upside down, and then maybe the brains will work together, double the brain power. Excuse me, double the RAM, you know. And then they'll be able to see upside down faster. I quite like the idea of a supervillain, right? And the supervillain purposely breeds conjoined twins with the sole intent of making them into perverts to make them look up women's skirts. You know, like purposely growing them so they're top and tailing as they're walking. And he's just doing it to harass the local women. And he just keeps churning them out somehow. Like he's radiated his semen or something like that. And he can just... Every woman he gets pregnant is a conjoined twin who's perfectly made so one of them can observe underneath a lady's dress. Because that'd be a good super villain, wouldn't it? Well, it'd be a good villain. He has got superpowers, I suppose. He's been radiated, hasn't he? So he has got a power. It's a shit power, but it's a power nonetheless. That'd be a pretty good guy. That. He'd be a terrible guy, but a good character. Where are we? No, she's got a proper job, Tom. You're probably right, Roll Collapse. There with the Agent Orange and that. The chicken toe you bought her 2 years ago. The chicken toe. Was that the necklace? One of the bigger necklaces? Or was it in, oh, it was in the little pendant necklaces. I'll probably make more of them. What is infinity then? Yeah, I know you're trying to catch me out, Andy, but you're trying to catch me out on like a semantic thing when it's the, you want me to explain what infinity would be without scientific terms, just a never-ending thing. You can have I don't understand, you could have a never-ending thing, surely without the need of science to explain it. Surely more so you would need science to explain when something ends. Is it not quite lazy to say that things are infinite, and you could argue, from my point of view, my perspective of this, surely you could argue that it's lazy, scientifically it's lazy to say things are infinite, because that would be much harder to prove, if not impossible to prove, because you can't find an end. Surely all it means is you haven't yet got the technology available to find the end, so there is an end. So in essence, it's does that answer that at all? See you in a bit, Duke. Oh, Roller Collapse, I do episodes about that. Roller Collapse is saying, I reckon people at the top of the creative industries producing stuff for kids and that are purposely putting mad odd stuff in cartoons that make kids pervs when they grow up. I don't really go into the pervy side of stuff, but I do look into kids films and then find all the hidden messages in there. I've done The Little Mermaid, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the first Pokemon movie, which you can watch as a video on my YouTube. That one, I'll let that one be out to the public, because it was I thought it was a good one. It was a long one as well, so I thought people might like that. The Lion King, Hot Tub Time Machine, Dodgeball. I've just done Toy Story, but I've not released that yet, but you can watch the video version on Patreon. I recorded that one recently. I've still got to edit it for a podcast, but I've got a while to wait really for it. I looked into the Tartarians a while back. It's one of them that doesn't interest me all that much, because again, I don't believe it. It's one of them that it's not that I don't believe in it. I just think, why would you focus on that civilization when there's a lot of supposed proof for lots of other civilizations before them that were just as advanced? Supposedly it's the same story repurposed with a different name. Oh, we're at the bottom of the... There we go, we've gotten to the bottom of them comments there. Fucking hell, that took a while. You're right, knock a gallon. Oh, that took ages to get through all them. No, that's alright, Andy. I'm just chatting, innit? I'm just trying to think, and it's not taking it, in a bad way that you're trying to catch me out. It's a fun thing, innit, in a conversation or a debate, to try and to catch the other person. That's the whole point of it. That's how I see a conversation. A conversation's I might regret saying this. A conversation is a competition, isn't it? Really, a debate's a competition, anyway. This is a long time to talk for. How many people are watching this on YouTube then? Can any of you see how many people are watching this on YouTube? I don't have a clue. It doesn't tell me. Top chat, is that not all the chat? Live chat? Oh mate, I didn't have that on. Oh, if I've not answered you, I'm so sorry. There's a couple I've not seen, but it's from Anon. That's okay. And the only one I've not seen from you, Anon, is where it says, shit, unless the universe is mad about pushing us, I'm open to it. Well, it's just one of them. Maybe it's pushing. I forgot one of your bug necklaces. Did I? What do you mean? Are you sure? Send me a message. It's definitely not in the box or wrapped up in the, if it's in a box, or in the envelope. It's possible, I forgot. Man, I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't. I don't know if I did, but I don't think I did. I wouldn't know. When? I'm your father figure. That's awful, mate. You can do better than that, man. Fair enough, Andy. I like trying to convince people. Trying to convince people that what I'm saying is the thing. Oh no, you shouldn't feel bad, man. If I've not, you know, not giving you a thing you've paid for. But yeah, send me a message with your order number. Like, but put, if that's the last message you send, whatever the last messages you send to me on there, put your order number first, so I can look at the messages and know that you're not a mentalist trying to send me a horrible picture or whatever. Because I've been getting some of that recently as well. You can't find the Pokemon one. Might be on my Facebook. I think if you go on my YouTube, if you'll find it on my YouTube. It's not out as an audio episode yet, the Pokemon episode. That's not out as an audio episode, but it is out as a video episode. Another person asking about truth seeking. Jimmy's gonna love this. That it won't screenshot. There we go. Nothing happened to truth seeking. Truth seeking will still happen, I think. It's just we recorded a lot of truth seeking over lockdown, and then started releasing them as podcasts, because that genuinely went out as a live radio show. It was honestly live. There was no script. We had some notes, which I don't have to hand here, obviously, but we'd have a few notes each, but not a lot of it, just some. And then it wasn't scripted about. It was live. It went out live on a Thursday evening at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But so we had loads recorded, and then we started putting them out one a week on Spotify. Probably when we would already recorded like 30 odd episodes, I think then we started to release them as podcasts after that. And then eventually we just ran out of them, because by the time you had gotten episodes, God, I don't know, what did it go up to? 45? Was there 45 of them? Or 50 of them? There's something like that, 45 or 50 of them. But by the time it had gotten to around that, normal life had started and really taken off. I think by that point Jimmy was moving house, getting into his Muay Thai. I was back in the studio making stuff out of rats and doing my bits, you know. So real life took over again. Lockdown ended, so it was hard for us to find the time to do it. But I'll screenshot that as well, Jess, and send him that. Might be able to talk him into doing so. It's not that it's him that doesn't want to do it, but it's, you know, it's nice to get a bit of encouragement in it. Have you found it now, Tattoo? You're right, Kyan. $10K. There's not 10,000 people watching this. If there is, I can get fucking adverts now on YouTube. That'd be sick. But I doubt there is. Is the news real? Probably not, no. I wouldn't have thought so. Why would it be? I bet bits of it are. I've been on the news. When I was on the news, that was real. So that means that some of it must be. At least some of it is. But I don't know what that means, Jess. Am I going to do the NPC live TikToks? What's that mean? Can you rephrase that for us, Jess? Oh, if you want stuff like that, the ASMR, I do rat scraping ASMR on my YouTube, mate. If you want to go and listen to actual me scraping the dried peelings out of the inside of a rat's skin, if you want to listen to that, give that a go. Or you can shove me podcasts on, mate, and have that to listen to. You might enjoy that. I don't know what that means, Warren Joe. I don't understand. Oh, keyring, okay. No, yeah, I suppose if you want to look at it that way, I don't understand, but... You're right, Ethan. And the trend where people are, no, I'm not going to do all that, I digest, I can't be arsed, I don't do it like that. I've come on here hoping that people might, go and listen to the podcast or buy some crystals off my website, or maybe, buy a man from Turkey, which is a little gingerbread man made out of a turkey foot, or maybe some soapstone carvings. But if I just sit here advertising my stuff, people will leave and get bored, so I've just been answering questions and then it's all going to go out as a YouTube video when this is done. That's the plan anyway. Oh, Randy, don't worry, mate. I won't remember what I was saying, so don't worry, mate. This is all moving on very quickly or constantly. How long we've been going? We've been going an hour and a half here. We'll see how long we can go on for, like how long I can go on for. Still got a bit of coke there. Might as well have that. Wet me throat a bit. Got it all in my sash. Ethan saying do a line. It's just a drink, mate. Just a bit of a kind of coke. Ever seen a ghost? I don't know if I've seen a ghost, Lucinda, but I did see something very strange once. I think I've gone into this on Truth Seeking. Don't know if I've gone into this on WorldAroundEwe's podcast, but I think I did speak about it on Truth Seeking. I'm not going to show you the pics that the mentalists send, because I would get banned off of here. It's just dirty pictures I've got no interest in. That's all. So please stop sending them. I don't want to see your ring piece, which is it's a very I don't know how to describe those pictures. It's not an intimidating picture to receive, but it's certainly a weird picture to receive. You open up your messages, you go on Facebook and open up my messages on there, and it's some bloke sent you a picture of his ring. You're like, what the fuck, man? Why have you sent that? How have you got that angle as well? Why is it so well lit? That's another question. Just like they're there with a candle or something to get the perfect lighting. Mental. My views on perpetual motion. Nice one, Chingus. One sec. Hopefully you're right, higher sec though. The ghost thing. I have gone into this. Excuse me. I have gone into the ghost thing, I think, on Truth Seeking. Excuse me. Weird that the water's making me burp, but the coke didn't. So, long story short, I think I was playing Modern Warfare 2, actually. I think. And I was speaking to me mate over a mic, and then this weird light came in the gap of the door. So you see here on the Instagram feed, that where my finger is here, there's a gap in the door there, so it applies to the person I'm speaking to in the thing, so that's fine. This gap here, right, imagine about this high, a very bright light, as bright as this, appears to this height, and I'm staring at it thinking that's pretty weird. The door's closed, the door's ajar, right, but there's a gap like that sort of a thickness, and then there's darkness up here, but that light's here, really fucking bright. And then I'm staring at it thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And then it sort of looks like it dips like that, and then it comes back like that and stays there, staring at it. And I'm describing it as well over the mic to me mate, saying, I don't know what's going on here, this is really weird, I don't want to stop looking at it because I don't get what's going on. And he's getting annoyed because we were probably cheating on COD. Like fucking hiding, shooting each other, getting headshots, and that's one of the things we used to do as it was getting late in the night. And I'm watching it, and I went, I'm going to try something, mate, and I said something along the lines of, if there's something there, do something funny, mate, make me laugh. And as I said it, this sounds like bullshit, innit? But as I said, it cupboard door, airing cupboard door there above the boiler, just pings open, and one of the towels fell off. And so the towels in that cupboard, because my mum's quite pedantic, so usually all of the towels would be folded like that, bath towels and that, hidden away. But this towel landed like it had been coiled up to whip, so like that, but landed perfectly around my glass that was there. I had a drink there, and I just stared at it, and I looked back at the door and the light was gone, and I was like, that's pretty weird. And then I like the big man I am, said good night to my friend, and I went and slept downstairs in the living room just in case. And I never asked of anything stupid ever again like that, so you know, kind of learnt my lesson, I suppose. Full-blown photo shoot for the chicken, new one or old one? I don't know what you're asking, Ethan. I don't know what you're asking that to. From start to finish, Toby, it's about 2 weeks to make a rat pencil case. If you could get any animal for your next thingy, what would it be? I'm not asked. Wouldn't mind getting some moles in again. Moles are quite fun. How differently do his ears differ? What do you mean? They're just mouse ears, mate. They're mouse ears, so they tend to. The ears may differ from the ones in the picture because but they are a little Bigfoot, about maybe about this big, which is, if I put it there, probably about that big, and then mouse ears, which are probably about that big, give or take a couple millimetres. That's what I mean by the ears may differ, but they're always mouse ears. Oh, well, I'm glad you're getting something out of it, Joshua. Hey, buzzing. Yeah, it was pretty weird, Lucinda. Over the ring thing earlier. Oh, wait. New one or old one, over the ring thing. I'm pretty confused, Ethan here. Liam, I'm going to ignore that, mate. Liam's asking, did anyone else see the little shadow person running the room? Like there's a gnome, mate. There's just a gnome knocking about. Come here. Yes. You see the people. Not asked. No one else got any questions in? Gnomes are shadow people. More than likely shadow people are gnomes. Have you never read about gnomes, mate? I've put an episode out about gnomes, man. Gnomes are mad. So gnomes are like these little ethereal beings. People think they're like dwarfs and that, innit, like from Snow White, but they're not. They're not even the things that people have statues of in the gardens, mate. They're just these sort of creatures that can pass through stone, and they like to mess with people. One of the better depictions of a gnome, mate, is the underwear gnomes. Not for how they look, but for how they act. You know, the underwear gnomes in South Park. That's a pretty good sort of example of a gnome, that. But the fucking the gnomes are a mad thing to learn about, mate. If you start reading about them and that, and watch the videos, mate. Go and watch the videos of gnome sightings. They're terrifying. They're some of the scariest cryptid stuff you'll find, mate. Worse than like the Wendigo sightings and stuff like that, because they're just fucking weird. And you can, with the Wendigo stuff on old footage, you can imagine it's just some fucking costume someone's made, and the Skinwalker stuff and Bigfoot, and even like the Mothman stories could just be some weirdo in a costume. Mothman could have been a sandhill crane, might not have been, might have been a Mothman, but it could have been a bird. Very unlikely, because it was fucking massive, supposedly much bigger than a sandhill crane would ever possibly be. with red glowing eyes, you know, and a weird smell of sulphur. A lot of these creatures seem to emit a smell of sulphur, not gnomes. Gnomes don't do that apparently. Gnomes are just these weird shadow creatures, dark creatures. It's fucking bizarre, mate. Watch the videos. There's, I think Shrouded Hand a good few years back did an episode about the videos about gnomes. Watch some of them, mate, because they're mad. There's because you can't, like I was going to say, with some of them you can work out how they fake it, how they fake the footage and that, but the gnome stuff, especially the older videos, it's hard to imagine how they fake that at all. And some of the stories about the gnomes underground and stuff, the whistling, apparently there's like a whistling sound and a sort of a humming sound and singing sounds underground, mate, and gnomes lure people in. I've done episodes, man. Listen to the episodes about it. Listen to the podcasts, mate, and you'll learn stuff. I've spent years, mate, learning all these things, just absorbing information, mate, and now I put it out to you once every other week as a show where you can also learn and you can think just like me. And not even be scared of your own shadow, but be scared of something else's shadow. The shadow of a thing you can't see, mate. Nomophobic? No, I've not got anything against him, innit? Won't say it on record, anyway. You know. The rake, you woke up with a rake looking at you. I don't understand. The cat does like the taxidermy. I've got to keep most of the taxidermy in glass that I have in my house, that I've made. Because the cat takes it and goes and puts it in the dog's water bowl. It does it every time. If I was to leave this out on the shelf where she could get to it, she'd just take it and she'd leave it in the dog's water bowl. Which fucking ruins the taxidermy because it gets it wet and like soaking wet. Ruins it, and also it'll fucking make the dog ill if it eats it. Yeah, I'm going to look at clipping the podcasts for TikTok. I used to. I've put some of them up as videos, but it doesn't do very well. I might get someone to fucking make them into videos, little clips. Because that's just an extra job for me, which I can't be arsed doing. But it'd be worthwhile if it gets more people looking at it. What's going on here? No, I can't do worm and ants together. Oh, I am trying to stay hydrated. I'll shove my recorder up my own piss on. Lovely. What's going on here? A cat and pig? Probably. I haven't got access to a pig though. What's going on here on Instagram? Instagram's going crazy now. People in there are mental. Ferret and a squid. You know, you can't really mix them. Alright, Laura. A wizard rat hole. A rat penis as a wand. Wouldn't be much of a wand. No, I'm not drunk. Why do you think I'm drunk? I'm talking about gnomes. I'm sober. I am very sober. I don't have to be drunk to talk about this sort of stuff. I have to be drunk to not stop talking about that sort of stuff. I do have a shop with these items, mate. Like things like my insanity mirrors and that. You can get it on my website, mate. If you go on the link on my page, you find everything on there, the website link. I don't have a pencil case at the minute, but I've got loads of other stuff I've made. That's got duckling skin in there. That's a bit of duckling feather. A pig's. Billy, I reckon a pig's. Yeah, I'm sober. Of course I'm sober. A pig's knob would be a good one for a wizard to be holding because it's like a squiggly thing, isn't it? That'd be mint. Ratting ain't easy. Someone's saying ratting ain't easy. Yaki die. Thank you, AGK. I get why you think I'm drunk. Alcohol makes your belly buttons invert. Can make your nipples go inwards as well, you know. You ever heard that? Never heard it about belly buttons going in, but if you get, like some people when they get too pissed, their nipples go inwards. They don't come out until they've completely sobered up, probably like 2 days later, considering how much you have to drink for that to happen. Oh, look at that for a fucking thing there. So I'm somebody's favourite internet micro celebrity. I'll take favourite taxidermist. Internet micro celebrity's got a bit mouthy in it, but I don't see myself as any of those things. I'm just a guy that makes stuff out of rats, and I'm doing these live streams in the hopes that people will buy some more stuff made out of rats from me, maybe listen to me podcasts and that. What's the time? It's 11 o'clock. We've done nearly 2 hours of a stream. I have no nipple because of the links challenge. No pork on me fork. Grimsby fella, not from Grimsby. Like snail eyes. What do you mean it's what's expensive, James? Some of it's expensive because it takes ages to make. Some of it's cheap. I have a £10 and under section on the website. I try and keep most of my stuff under £20. A lot of my stock is like these things here, like look at this. This is called a Stars hole, this. I make these. I'll be making resin stuff soon once my resin arrives. That's a mouse's arsehole in resin. And I sell them for, they're about a tenner. But, one sec, let me find. But these here, here's a baby chicken's heart and a dinosaur. These are £6 each. So it's all various prices, James. There's the price I charge what I charge because some of it takes a long time to make. Some of it's quite inconvenient to make. Some of it's hard. You know what I mean? It's yeah, man. It's some bits like the pencil cases. To make one of the pencil cases from start to end, realistically, is about 2 weeks. So that's it takes a fair bit of time to do. So I should probably charge more for some of my stuff. Well, there you go. That's But if you have a look on the actual website, James. Insanity mirrors. So here's an insanity mirror. Little cupboard, duckling skin inside. I think these are up at £15. Hairy danglers, mate. They're made out of rat skin, duckling skin, mouse, rabbit, whatever. Get me little grubby little hands on. They're a tenner a piece. These with elastic on now. This was one of my Christmas ones. This is one of my men from Turkey. It's a little gingerbread man made from a turkey's foot. And they're now on elastics. You can put them on the rear view mirror of your car. I think these are a £5. I think a dollhouse of taxidermy. I think that'd be quite a challenge. No, I've never thought about using clay that turns into silver. That doesn't sound like it's real. But I'll show you these things. Yeah. When I was in, that's weird. On 2 of the cameras, when I stand up and go that way, I go that way. On one of the cameras, when I stand up though, I go the other way, which is pretty weird. See, there's a perception thing, because the one that I'm saying I go that way on, I'm actually pointing that way on. So it's fucking bizarre. But this was made, I made this is a piece of jewellery I made when I was in Japan. I studied in Japan for like 4 months and did ring making and things like that. It's not great, but considering I couldn't really speak much Japanese and all of the instructions, well, most of the instruction was in Japanese, I think I did alright really. Just from watching people and copying people. Could do with a varnish, a polish, a bit of brass on it or something. I sourced my animal parts from the animals that skin. I don't fancy making rats making dinner in a kitchen. No, I buy the rats. Dead from pet shops. They're frozen. Snake food and you know. What made me want to do taxidermy? I misunderstood a university project, Jess. Jess, if you go onto my YouTube, there's a video. It takes like it's like a 5-minute story. I keep saying this, but it's quicker for me to say. It's about a 5-minute story of how I got into taxidermy, rather than telling that 5-minute story over and over and over again on every live stream. So I've put it up as a video on my YouTube, so you can find it on there. Higher Sector, I'm live on YouTube and I'm live on TikTok, and I'm live obviously on Instagram as well. You'll find it on the YouTube. Jack Trailer's asking if I've got something wrong with me. Have you got something wrong with you, mate? No, I've never thought about eating the meat of a rat. They wouldn't want to. These are like laboratory bred rats, mate. I think to feed to snakes. I don't think we'd want to eat it. I can't imagine there's anything good in there. But though, when you take the skin off of a mole, that does actually smell quite nice. Like that smell. I used to be a butcher, and as far as meat goes, mole meat smells probably the most inviting of any of the animals I've ever cut up. Which sounds like a crazy thing to say. It probably is, but it does. I've never tasted it. I'm not going to, because it might have been poisoned or something. You don't know. But they do smell like they'd be good meat, if that makes sense. They smell quite gamey and that, you know. I know you're only from Insta and YouTube. Okay. Well, I'm on everything, mate. Me. I'm even on Vero somewhere. That weird Russian social media that was about for a while. I make pencil cases, so I could probably make purses out of animals. James Mackey's saying I should try and eat something for a video. Presume he means like rats, but no. I'm not trying to make videos to make them go viral. I make videos to show the stuff that I make. So I don't, you know. The videos in essence, in a way, are a means to an end. You know, if I make a video to show you something, then you know it's for sale and it's on the website. You know, that makes sense. I don't really sit about and think, oh, how can I make this video here? Maybe I should, you know, chew on this rat's tail. You know, no, I don't. I'm not that arsed about that. I could eat rabbit and then use it for something, but it depends on where I got the rabbit from. Really, doesn't it? And why would I eat the rabbit when I could just buy a dead chicken from a butcher or Aldi and eat that? I made a rabbit into a toaster once, if that appeals to your steamboat. I don't know if you've seen that. This is what's weird now, because there's so many followers across the board on everything. Like there's, I don't know, 20,000 on Instagram, 100 and something thousand on TikTok. It's hard to know what people have seen and what people haven't seen, innit? I don't know what you haven't seen. The rat pencil cases are 85 quid kitten, happy kitten. Well, I haven't got one at the minute, but if you want to know when the next one's available, join me Patreon, and I send out a message to Patreon subscribers to tell them when the next one's available. Gives them a little bonus and a little advantage over everyone else, I guess. But there's lots of other stuff on the website, Happy Kitten, if you want to find them. I don't get why everyone's asking about the pencil cases again, just like suddenly. Was that one of the scheduled videos that went out today? Was that a pencil case? Yeah, I make them all by myself, Happy Kitten. Pretty much, if on my website, if it's made from skin, I made it myself. If it's got organs, I made it myself. The insects, I don't. The stone stuff, I don't, obviously, because it's stone. But I make most of it myself. The pencil cases I make myself, though. Yeah, I'm a taxidermist. Give it a go, AJGK. If you want to know how I got into it, Happy Kitten, if you want to know how I got into taxidermy, if you go onto my YouTube account, if you go on my page and tap the YouTube button, there's a video on there once you become a subscriber that tells you how I got into taxidermy. It's like a 5-minute story. I misunderstood a university project, So that gives is that enough of a taster? Give you a bite, you know, so you can go and have a watch of that. It'll probably answer a lot of your questions as well. I don't know, James. I've been doing it this has been my job my full-time job for like 4 years, and I wouldn't discuss finances anyway on a live stream or with a stranger. It's not that I mind you asking, it's just it's not something I would do, really. I grew up in Benchill, Toby Stevens, if you know it. What's this? We got a question. It's just a joke that someone said before about jelly and jam. The jewellery to the YouTube camera, yeah? So, give us a second. I'll get the other thing I made there as well. Which was this? No. And this. I can show you this as well that I made there. One sec. I'll show you everything I made in Japan. Well, not everything, but some. I don't have it all. Don't actually know where all the property stuff is that I made. It's pretty dusty. Very dusty. Start cleaning behind you. Fucking yeah. Can I just use it to keep stuff in? What inspired me to make the stuff? I misunderstood a university project. But if you watch the video on my YouTube, you'll find out about it. So there's the ring I made, which they said, well, I presume they were saying it was silver, but I didn't know the word for silver. But they gave me a stamp that said silver, but I don't think it is silver. I think they just say it is. It might be a different consistency to here. It's a little ring. And then I made this as well, which was made a lot faster, obviously, because it's a bit... So, where's the camera? Fucking... There you go. But yeah, they need a good polish or so, but it's not very clear, is it? But not much I can do. And this as well, mate. I made this took me ages. That's all hand carved. I did all of that by hand, no router or anything. Made that in 2015, mate. You see the date I finished it there, 2nd of December 2015. But I made this in Japan as well. It's all hand carved, well, carved with a chisel, obviously, you know, not by like thumbnail.